I'm Maxwell David J. Brown, author of Maxwell David MCRP template for life coaching. And I am really delighted to know you're participating in this life coaching session. Of course, we're going to look at reduce your failure by 70%. Now, even as we talk about your failure, you will already figure out that we are actually talking about your life failure. So we wouldn't want us to get all messed up. When we talk about life, we're actually looking at your life failure as a child, or your life failure as an adult, or your life failure as a student. We could think of your life failure as a teacher, but the word life or life coaching has no restriction. So is what we mean reduce your life failure 70%. We are trying to find out a general way to really help you reduce your life failure. Generally, people don't really know where they are failing, and I don't even actually think I may be able to assist you because I don't have your case and you don't have your experience to be able to figure it out. But what we're simply going to do, like any other life coaching, is to see how we could create that consciousness in your mind that you could be experiencing life failure. So when we say 70% reduce life failure or failure is not, equals to 100% success. No, that's not true. If you have reduced your failure, by 70%, this is really, not equal to, it's not equal to 100% success. What you've just done is that you have reduced your failure. That means if you have 100% failure, you reduce it by 70%. That means you've gotten it right 70%. That is really the scenario we want to create behind your mind, that you have not succeeded 100%. So this is really not 100%, success. It's not 100% success. It's not. It's just 70% success. So let's go here. Let's try to explain that if you reduce your maturity deficiency, which is basically the knowledge you have about your life as a student or a teacher or a child or as an adult, if you reduce that knowledge, maturity deficiency by 10%, if it is 100, you still have 90 to look for. If you reduce your personality abnormality by 60%, that means you still have 40 to think of. So relationship failure, if you reduce it, by 10%, you should be thinking of you still have 90% failure. 40% self-esteem simply means you have the likes. So now, that is really what we could just keep on saying. Now we will advise you to use a template when you are trying to analyze your life. Use a template if you have all of this as a template and you have this individual and you really want to analyze them. You put them all on this scale. Certain things I'll give you a very clear idea of what to do. So this man has reduced his failure by 10% and is having 90% failure. That's what we've said. 70% failure simply means 30% reduce. Or 90% success means this lady is actually having 10% failure. And this 25 means this man is 75% successful. So this one is 40% successful, and that means it's having 60% failure. These are scenarios we want to bring upon your mind. In what area, in what life endeavor are you really struggling? You want to really see how you can reduce your failure. You wonder, what do you look at? You could come back really at this scenario we've created. You could come back here and begin, to do all of this. They could really find out where you are deficient. The scenario, I always say maturity is the first experience of life. Without maturity, nothing makes sense. So if you are able really to reduce your personality abnormality, by 60%. If you look at for all of these relationship failures, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. How do I identify this aspect of my life? So if you're holding, we are going to come to it. We're really going to come to it. But for now, we would advise that you should use Maxwell David MCRP template. You should use it for your life coaching. So we're actually introducing the templates to you, and we'll show you in a while what they look like. This is Maturity Child Resource Facility brand, MCRP investigation part. This is one of the template. This I will show you in a while how to reduce your life failure, by 70%. I will show you in a while, and then we will come back. So, for now, we want to really consider this topic: dressing, honor, glory, and shame. It's actually a book I read while I was waiting for a meeting some time ago. Now, I thought I would love to share, some of the things I have discovered there from, the author have a lot to talk about Christian dressing. He contrasted with worldly dressing. He requested that when you see an individual dressed up, that whatever the man want to say is already, expressing his dressing, and you may be able to impress people with your dressing in a few moments, but you spend a lot of time trying to correct it. And, we have a lot of content worldly dressing. There are struggle with women, our young adult in the university, especially the female. They're really dressing, to impress people, to show their dishalay as they ought to use it. They are careless about their dressing. He talked about sagging, how sagging is really common among both male and female, and that is wearing your undies or your trouser above your waist, to show your undie, and that initially sagging started in the prison when individuals, were not given the privilege of using belts because they could use it to commit suicide or as a weapon, for punishing or inflicting other inmates. So as a result, prisoners wear their, trousers sagging at it. But now you find our youth wearing it around. They have crises at the parliament and trying to really address this issue. So we have age dressing. He talked about different age must dress, uh, to suit their age, and he actually talked about a mother and a daughter, or a man and his wife dressing, asking the wife to dress in a more, sex appealing. How that may be right if she's home, but it could be wrong if she wear it out. This monk talked about sex signal. In fact, he talked about a lady he met, one of these days in a bus station, and how she really dressed very, very, very seductive. How everybody in the bus was uncomfortable with, her dressing, but nobody there to correct her. At the point she was trying to alight from the bus, it was a whole, struggle for this particular lady. So you see, for him, that is really abhorred. It's not supposed to be, the way they should dress. That if she is sending a sexual signal, it could lead to what they call rape, by a certain individual. There's God and society. He talked about that God is the one who set, the rules, the dressing code, and not the society. These are issues we have handled. He's trying, the book actually is trying to really give us some kind of ways to reduce, our life failure. So I would suggest that by reading a book like this, you could really reduce, we've talked about, maturity content, you could really reduce your life failure, when you work on your deficiency. You read a book like that. In fact, when I read that book, I was elated. I really picked one or two, even vocabularies, which is really why I read sometimes. So you discover that in the book he talked about abnormal personality. He talked about the trouble we have personality abnormalities, how our girls just want to impress people outside that they're beautiful. And the school is really not for study, but really to showcase how attractive they are. Well, you wouldn't blame them. If you have something that you can't control, they have an outside person. They don't have the inside life to control it. This we will look at it sometimes when we look at self-esteem failure. They are experiencing self-esteem failure if they really believe that they look good outside. They shouldn't really make that outward appearance look like all that they could offer. That shouldn't be. We have poor mental we have poor mental, what do you call it, practices. This is really about your inner life, trying to think. All of these are things that young adults actually struggle with it. So, well, that is one template. Now, if you bring it here, bring the whole idea of, you know, we have discussed about that book. If we bring this whole idea of what we have really looked at on this book, you know, if you bring it on the template, we will be able really to, uh, you know, come up with certain explanation. We will be able to help people to know, what they are doing. Whether you're a child or whether you're an adult, will be really able to help you. So, this if you study this part very well, you find out that we have this is more like a dictionary. When you open a dictionary, you open it to a word, then all of these are like it is. Here is a variable. This is called the descriptive bar. It tries to describe what you have here. And if you have been trained, by the way, there's a lot of videos on how to use this part. I envisage you may not really understand what I'm doing, but I'm going to see how I could really explain to you. I mean, bring the issue of how to reduce your what do you call it, life failure, 70%. So that's about the best reduction. If you reduce your life failure 70%, you are above average. So we just say here you put this here, and all of this describe what you have there. So actually, when we're looking at a child, want to help a child reduce his life failure 70%, we also try to go and cross-check all of these. We also try to go and cross-check all of these. If a child really discover, his natural lifestyle, his life orientation lifestyle, or somehow we call that developing lifestyle, and this developed lifestyle, if a child is able to realize his, the point at which he is in life, he would have been able to reduce his life failure. Now you ask me, what is natural lifestyle? Natural lifestyle is simply a certain lifestyle that has not been cultivated. You've not been trained in it. If you're a child, it's just, someone have to teach you how to behave like a child. But most adults don't see that. If you are an adult, sincerely, someone need to teach you how to behave like an adult. If you are a student, someone really need to coach you. That's what we mean by life coaching. Someone need to coach you on what it takes to behave like a student. If you're a teacher, really, someone need to do that for you. So, and if no one has done that for you, whatever life you have or lifestyle you have, sincerely, that is what is known as natural lifestyle. But if you have someone right about now teaching you how to behave like a child, teaching you how to behave like a student or a teacher, then you are having this. Now you're having these. You have a life orientation lifestyle, a developing lifestyle. And now, if you have passed through this, through this, you pass through this, and then through this, then you are here. You've developed lifestyle. So most individuals don't know that for you to reduce your life failure, you need to move through this. It's there. It's there for you. And if you don't move through this, what do you call it? Existence is actually existence. Lifestyle is existence. If you don't move through these three forms of existence, you can reduce your life failure by 70%. Now you could really see that what we've established here is that this one here can describe this. This one equally can use to do this. This one too can be described here. What we're simply saying is that when you have a natural lifestyle, it means that your interaction here, these maturity structures, the relationship structure, when you have this, I'm not sure I'm going to go through the whole part, but I would just create the impression here and then, make few recommendations. And of course, I hope that you would pick it up. I hope to spend a few more minutes and we'll wrap this session up. So, this maturity state simply suggests four type of relationship an individual can be in, when you are experiencing life, natural lifestyle, life orientation lifestyle, or developed lifestyle. It's simply saying that when you are having natural lifestyle, you have these four type of relationship, and you are not interacting with them correctly. Because if you are interacting with them, your lifestyle would have improved. Maturity positions are relationships that define you. Maybe you have a book and you don't read the book. Maybe you have a teacher and you don't interact with your teacher. Maybe you have a resource person, someone who tells you what is right and wrong. That is maturity position. Maybe you have maturity situation. You have individuals who know more than you as a child, but you don't ask them for advice. An adult who know more than you have other adults who know more than, but you don't ask them for advice. There's a situation. You have a neighbor who you don't ask for advice. You envisage that neighbor knows more than you. You would have just natural lifestyle. Conditional lifestyles is that you are a child, definitely belong to a parent. You are an adult, definitely maybe you are a wife or husband. You may have somebody who could really tell you that if you want your marriage or your family to work, these are things you must do. If you want to be a good student, these are things you must do. That word must, is what we mean by such relationship that can tell you that if you want to be part of this family as a child, these are things you must do. Or maturity therapy is someone that comes around and tells that a child must be open to learning. Somebody that really open your mind. That if you have never have that interaction, then you're having this. But if you have an individual who is picking it up for you, telling you that the books you have as a student, you must read them. The scheme of work you have as a teacher, you must consult them. They define what you must do. Or you have colleagues in the office, who are you are in a situational relationship with them, or you have the headmaster, the school authority telling you that these are things you must do as a school. Or on your own, you decide to consult other teachers, other experts, and ask them how to do things. You're doing that. Of course, once you become a professional at this, once you have developed lifestyle, you will begin to, say things based on what an authority have said. Say things based on your interaction with other colleagues of yours. Say things because that's what is expected of you. So you are already, living your life based on this. So if you have this intact in your life, there's no how you would there's no how you would have not reduced your life failure by 70%. And there's no how. There's no how you wouldn't have done that. There are other content I will not be sharing with you. This is not MCRP presentation, it's a live coaching session. And if you really want to have this, just subscribe to any of the available channel where I have discussed this. The content are there for you, to go through it and explain it. Now we are concerned about the self-esteem of our students, especially girls in the school. Now, this is what I would just love to explain, and then I will move on. I'll move on. These are things I love to explain, and then I'll move on. Yeah, I think I've skipped a place, so let me go back there. Though I've explained it to you, but let's really move on. So if you have this and you want to configure it, you put this book here, Dress in Honor, Glory, and Shame. That's really what we have discussed. So when we're looking at dressing, honor, glory, and shame, we're trying to say that if an individual who's having a natural lifestyle is going to dress, to gain honor, to gain glory, and to avoid our shame, that individual need to consult this book as, positional authority. That individual need to tell people around him what he has read in a book. That individual need a parent to really tell him when his dressing is right or wrong. We have that individual need an individual like me who is into life coaching to tell him that if you are a lady very attractive and you dress seductively, you will arouse many, you know, guys who are already under sexual tension, and you may really not know when they'll come after you for sexual harassment. So, all of these, are things that this book, try actually to explain. If you read the book Dress in Honor, Glory and Shame, these are things they've tried to explain. Before the author goes down, really, when he says that the society can't create a code for dressing, that it has to come from God, simply saying that God is the one who sits at the position, relationship, and said, this is how what is right, this is what is wrong. But we seems to have leaves, if we go back here, we seems to have leave our dressing to what? Situational relationship. That's really, we've created a scenario where we just love to dress casually. We don't really look at if we continue to dress like this, the future may change from our historical past. So these are trouble we are really having. If you are not the individual who just want situational relationship, it just simply means that you've been disconnected from your past, and your future would really not look like who you are in the past. So that is really the trouble we have. We can explain all of this. So the trouble with our girls, sincerely, is that they are failing their TTT of life. Let's say they dress the way they're supposed to dress in their private, in the public. They have failed their TTT of life. That is, they have failed their test, trial, and temptation. The desire is there. And why have they failed? Is because they really don't have maturity value. They really don't have maturity structure. They don't have maturity content. All of these are issue we could really want to discuss. But I guess I'll have to stop here, and it's just a free section for you. And in case you really want me to go over these with you, I am available. You can really contact me, and then or you could really chat me up, and then we could look at this content, very closely. Let's say you're a banker, let's say you're a preacher, let's say you're a student, and you really want me to do this section for you. You want me to really tell you how you can reduce your life failure by 70%. I could really teach you. I could really want to invest my time, of course, to do research and then to add it up with my MCRB template. And I tell you, the experience can be rewarding. You can reduce your life failure by 70%. Like I said, this is really not 100% success. All right.